Hi, my name is Jennifer Hancock. I'm a humanist, founder of Humanist Learning Systems, and author of several books about humanism. One of the things I teach is how to use behavioral science to help stop bullying, harassment, and discrimination, both for kids and for adults in the workplace. If we want to create a culture of giving and support, we can't just take, we have to give too. And so it's really important that our actions are not just reality-based, but that they're compassion-based as well. Treating other people fairly means caring about other people. Because if you don't care, you're not going to care enough to treat them fairly. Every human has dignity and worth. Every human. This is not just a catchphrase written in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It has real meaning to us humanists and hopefully to other humans as well. What it means is that we look at other humans, even humans who aren't in our tribe, even the jerks of the world, as fully human. And when you do that, you recognize something in them that's not very obvious when you're treating them as other or as horrible or as evil. It's very easy to fall into the tribal thinking, which is my tribe good, other tribe bad. And if you're in my tribe, I will treat you as human with dignity and worth. But if you're in the other tribe, I will label you as evil and therefore not worthy of my respect. And that's what dignity and worth is. It's not about respecting their behavior. It's about respecting the individual as a human being for the sake of them being a human being, because they're a human being just like you. Now, you might think, why should I do this if someone's being horrible to me? And the answer is that by doing this, you think more realistically about the problem you're encountering with this person. Maybe they are behaving horribly. Maybe they're a bully. Maybe they're harassing you. Maybe who knows what they're doing. Some people do some really horrible things. But if your understanding of why they're behaving that way is flawed, you won't fix your problem. And if you think they're behaving that way because they're evil and they just like doing evil things, you are wrong. Because they're human. And humans do things for a variety of reasons. And sometimes that reason is our insecurity. Sometimes that reason is that we're a psychopath and we just enjoy watching people be hurt. That does happen, not very often. The number of psychopaths in our society is really tiny. Really, they exist, but they're really tiny. By recognizing the other person is human, you take yourself out of the tribal thinking, which is flawed thinking, and start recognizing this person as fully human. I gave a talk on harassment to a law firm last year, and they were having interpersonal problems where people, I'm right, they're wrong, this person's bullying me, this person's harassing me, and it was going on both sides. The reality was everybody in that office was a good person. Every single person in that office was a good person. But because of interpersonal dynamics, they had started labeling each other as evil. And they weren't able to come together because you can't, as soon as you label someone as evil, you can't come together and find common ground and fix the problem. And one of the things that recognizing the dignity and worth of the other human as human does is it helps you get out of your own head long enough to start actually thinking about how I'm going to fix this problem. Is this person really evil, or are they just behaving in a way that benefits them and hurts me and they don't realize it? There's any number of ways you could think about this, but you can't even begin to think about that until you recognize the other person as human. Oftentimes what happens is we're responding to them through our own lens and our own insecurity, and then they respond to how we respond to them, and it just creates this cycle. How many times have you said something to someone and you said the right thing, but in your head you're thinking this person's a jerk, and they respond to you as if you just told them they were a jerk even though you didn't say that? Yeah, we've all had that experience. By recognizing the other person as human, worthy of dignity and respect, you stop yourself from being the problem. and causing your own problems by being the problem and not realizing you're the problem because you're good and they're evil, right? You're not good, they're not good, you're not evil, they're not evil, we're human. That's the point. Once you get past that, now we need to talk about how to treat other people fairly. Once you've agreed, I should treat this person fairly because they're human and not an evil monster, how do you do that? And this comes into the concept of justice and fairness. And they're two different things, even though they're related to one another. Our sense of justice is about how we feel we are being treated. And if someone is treating us in a way that we don't feel is fair, we don't think it's just, this is about how we are being treated. What you need to recognize is that the other person is making the same judgment about how you are treating them. Either you're treating them fairly and justly or not. And justice doesn't always translate into fairness. Sometimes the right thing to do hurts someone else. That sometimes is unavoidable. But you can help that by recognizing the humanity and the dignity of the worth of the individuals that these decisions are going to impact. Why treat other people fairly? Why be concerned with this concept of justice? Not just because you have this concept of justice, but because in order to have other people respect you and to treat you and care about your activities, you need to reciprocate that. Sometimes you need to initiate it and not wait for the other person to be good, but to initiate that reciprocal fairness justice cycle by engaging your enlightened self-interest. It's in my best interest to respect other people and to treat them fairly, even when they're not treating me fairly. Now, I do have programs that talk about how to end harassment and retaliation in the workplace, those cycles. They are based in science and also a healthy dose of this respect so that we can start the cycle. Often, like I said, what happens is I'll go into an office and they're, oh, this person's bad and they're being mean and they're not fair and therefore they're evil. And really what's happening is that they're just feeding each other with this negativity because at some point the respect broke down. And people stopped treating other people in the way that they thought was fair, and maybe it was necessary. In the workplace, this happens all the time. There are necessary workplace actions that have to happen, and the person experiencing that might not view that as fair, even though it's necessary and just. And that sense of unfairness in the individual will cause them to respond as if they've been treated unfairly, and they will do that by ascribing negative intent to the person who did that. And there's ways out of that using behavioral science and using this concept of compassion and recognizing the full dignity of the person and really prioritizing justice and fairness, which requires you to care enough about the other person to do that. And again, I have an online course on this and some other concepts over at humanistlearning.com.